I'm going to tell you a few little tidbits. Uh, my great grandmother Rosa Galletta, okay, I said was educated, and they lived in Lipari. They had a stone wall. Well, all of Sicily was stone walls over there, but their particular stone wall had a turnstile on it, okay, with a bell. What her job was to take care of unwanted babies. So that what you would do is you would bring your baby, if you didn't want it, and put it in the turnstile, turn the turnstile around, and ring the bell. And she knew that she should come out, and there would be a child there. She'd take the child and she would fill out the necessary papers because the Italian government required documentation. She'd fill out the necessary papers and then put the child up for adoption. Okay, they would take care of the child. Remember now, she had a number of servants working for her, so she didn't do all this stuff by herself. She was a commander. She gave orders. Okay, she was very good at it too, for what I understand. And then eventually, that a tidbit on the side that I've acquired over the conversation with a number of people is that if a young girl had a baby, okay, that would be her shame. But one of the ways they had of legitimizing it was that they would go later on and they would adopt the family, would adopt that baby and bring it back into their family. And that would take off any bad connotations as far as the child was concerned and make it legitimate because they're wonderful people and they adopted a child. Okay? Now, in the course of time, when my grandmother Giovannina Saltalamacchia, came to the United States because her aunt, who was married to Giacomo Galletta, it was the Baron Giacomo Galletta, they had no children. They wanted a child or someone. So they sent to Sicily to her sister, Anna Saltalamacchia, to take in one of the girls, which happens to be my grandmother. And life was hard over here too. It was just as hard over here as it was in Italy. Okay, so my grandmother came here and she worked hard. They worked hard. There was a lot of things they had to do. Their particular work was to take blankets and mattresses at the time and take out the insides of them and wash and clean the linen or the cotton or whatever was the stuffing in those sheets. Boil them to clean because a lot of times they became infested. So they would clean them, wash them, and also they would cone them, which means they would loosen them so they weren't clotted, and they would put them back, and that was one of their jobs. Also, Anna Saltalamacchia was a little bit of a physician. People would come to her, because remember her husband was a baron, and they would tell her their problems. A lot of times they were sick. At the time when people were sick, one of the things they do was to take a glass and a roll of cotton. They would soak the cotton in alcohol, put it on the different parts of a body and light it. And then they would take the cup and they would put the cup over it. What it would do is it would burn off the oxygen and suck the blood up, so forcing the blood to circulate in the skin. And it seems to have helped a lot of people a lot of times. And this is one of the things she did, and they earned money doing all these things, okay? When he came here, Giacomo Galletta, he bought a house on Carroll Street, 131 Carroll Street. He bought that house, and eventually it passed through the family, till it passed through my Uncle Nino, and then his son Robert, who eventually sold it. But it's 131 Carroll Street, and just so you get an idea, but I spent a lot of time in that house because my mother went to work, and I spent a lot of time. My grandmother grew me up. You know, I did what I had to do, and I thought it was normal. My grandma would get up in the morning, and sometimes when she was very busy, she would just take an egg, and she would take a hairpin out of her head and put a hole in each side of the egg and say suga, and I would suck on the egg until I took all the stuff out, and then she would give me maybe a little coffee with milk, and I'd be off to school. Okay, but then I'd come home and nobody told me how to do my homework. I'd do my homework. I'd do it. Then they told me what to do. I would help my grandmother wash floors. I would get under the bed because she couldn't get under the bed. I would move they stored a lot of stuff under those beds, and they would move the stuff around, and we would clean the floors. And for the aunt couldn't see too good, and so I used to thread a needle for her. I remember those things, okay? And I used to thread her needles for her. She was a nice lady, quiet. I didn't have too much to do with her because, I don't know, probably because she spoke Sicilian and I didn't, okay? I spoke Khmer. I didn't have too much of Sicilian then because my grandma Galletta spoke to me in English. But she was a nice lady, I'll tell you that. She's a very pleasant lady, okay? And I remember her, okay? I don't remember him too much because he died. And so I don't remember. I remember when he was laid out, but I was only a little kid and it didn't, I mean, I don't remember how old I was, but it didn't, I remember because it was in the parlor downstairs and I didn't really think about it that much. I don't know. In any event, time passed and, all right, hold on for a minute.